Welcome, everybody, to the third episode of the Speed Kills Squadcast. I'm here with two returning Squadcast members. If you could please introduce yourselves.
My name's Jeff.
That was Charlie Hill. And this is Emery Brew.
One of these two dropped a bowl today at lunch, but we're not going to say.
Nah, we're not going to talk about it.
We're not going to say who. It's only our third episode out here, boys. And these two have been on. Charlie's been on every one, right?
Yeah.
Emery's been on too. So today we're going to do something that's definitely different for the Speed Kills podcast as a channel. I've never covered NBA content. I'm not very confident with the NBA. I don't watch it that much. As far as basketball goes, I'm more of a college basketball person. I'm real big into tournament time and March Madness and stuff like that. I do watch some NBA. I watched the finals this year. I've watched finals in the past, but I don't follow the NBA as strongly as these two do, at least. So they were kind of the heads on wanting to do an NBA episode. So we're going to focus on the NBA. Today on the podcast, we're going to talk about if the Lakers should add a third max contract. We're going to talk about the 2019 NBA draft, and we're going to do a little $15 buy your own team. Stay tuned for all of that. So if you guys want to talk about your NBA fandom for a little bit, that's fine with me.
Well, I'm a Chicago Bulls fan. I'm from the Chicago area. And I would say I spend a lot of time watching like YouTube videos based upon the NBA. So I definitely stay up to date with it. I'm not too familiar with ridiculous stats or anything, so don't be pulling them up on me in the comment section all the time.
Pull up in the comments.
Yeah, so hopefully you can just like respect my opinion. We're not going to come with anything too crazy and too wild, hopefully. So, but yeah, I definitely would say that I probably have a little bit more knowledge in the basketball department than I do football, even though I'm a football player. I really like watching basketball and stuff. So
yeah, I mean, same for Charlie. Like, I'm not an ESPN analyst. I'm not Stephen A. Smith, so I don't really know who was on crack. Yeah, I'm not a big ESPN analyst, but I mean, I do follow basketball. So I mean, I just kind of gonna voice my own opinions. But I mean, I'm a big fan of Steph Curry, but I mean, Indianapolis Pacers, or not Indianapolis Pacers, from Indianapolis. I mean, got to be a hometown Pacers fan. So
yeah, Emery, born and raised in Indiana, big basketball fan. Watches high school basketball a lot. Went to a tournament this year, and has seen some pretty good players in the past. All right, so our first topic, like I said, is if the Lakers should add a third max contract, and we're kind of just going to talk about some general NBA free agency talk in general. So I think Charlie wants to go first on this one. If the Lakers should add a third max guy.
Yeah, personally, I don't think the Lakers need to add a third max player. I think I don't know who said it, but they made a good point. You see all the time in these big threes what happened, especially with LeBron, being as demanding with the ball as he is. Like obviously doing a lot of ISO, but LeBron does spread the ball pretty well. But you've seen it in Miami, you've seen it in Cleveland. There's always a person who kind of gets left out of the equation. In Miami, it was Chris Bosh. Still a very efficient player, but he definitely wasn't putting up the crazy numbers that he was when he was in Toronto. And then obviously people talked about it all the time. Kevin Love was never stepping up to help the team like he was supposed to be. So you see that all the time with the big three. There's usually a person that can kind of get left out sometimes. And if they try to get someone like D'Lo or Kemba, which is, I mean,
very likely.
Some people that they were talking about, obviously Kemba possibly to the Celtics, D'Lo to the Sun. There's tons of different possibilities, but a point guard is someone they were definitely trying to look for because they don't really have one right now. You could see D'Lo isn't really a defender. He's a good shooter, which is what the Lakers definitely need, but he's not a good defender. He kind of demands the ball. He's not a true passing point guard, definitely more of a scoring point guard. So that would be a thing that would really hurt him because he probably wouldn't see as many touches as he would when he is like in Brooklyn. Same with Kemba. I feel like he would get left out of the equation. LeBron probably brings the ball up quite often. Whenever he's playing, he brings the ball up. So I feel like that third player really just get left out. And then especially if they sign a big player. Right now they have $23.7 million in cap space, which isn't even enough to sign D'Lo right now. Definitely not enough to sign someone like Kyrie. So if they did that, it would definitely leave them hurting in order to sign some role players, which when you get into the regular season, you definitely need like some depth with LeBron being we saw it last year, he was injured all the time. He's on minutes restriction a lot. So you definitely need some depth there, and they definitely need a lot of shooting because you always have to surround LeBron with shooting and AD because even though AD has been working to stretch the floor, they definitely need some shooting. In today's era, you have to be able to shoot the ball from the three-point line. So that's why I don't think they should sign a third max player. They should definitely just try to surround themselves with some good 3-and-D players because that's definitely what you need in today's era. So with 3-and-D players, that would definitely help them in Los Angeles, I think.
Yeah, I agree with Charlie that they're probably not going to sign a third max guy, but I definitely think they'll sign at least one guy. So, Emery, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I'm kind of conflicted. I don't know what to think because, I mean, you're pairing up the number one guy in two positions, arguably, with LeBron and Anthony Davis all on the same team now. And my only issue is, like what Charlie brought up, is the depth on the bench. Because, sure, you had a young core, but then you got rid of it to make sure you get a superstar. Which,
the Lonzo experiment did not pay off for LeBron or the Lakers. And the Lakers organization kind of crumbled after that. Not really, but Magic Johnson left.
The whole deal with Magic Johnson. I mean, it's a win for both teams, I think, the trade that went down. But I think it's more of a win for the Pelicans just because they have such a good young core that's going to last them 5 to 10 years. And with the Lakers, you saw what happened with the Warriors. Warriors put so much money into getting stars, to getting a starting lineup of 5 All-Stars. And look what happens in the finals. 2 of them get hurt, and they
crumble.
Yeah, and they're crumble because they don't have depth off the bench. And if you're a Lakers fan or if you follow the Lakers at all, you got to understand that for a team to be successful, you are only as strong as your weakest link. And so if you don't have a good bench, then there's no way that you could really – because especially like you're talking about LeBron's getting older. And he's
35, 34.
Yeah. He's put on – he sat out a couple games for quote-unquote load management, which is a load of crap.
Emery's hitting air quotes here in the studio.
But you just – I don't know. You got to look at the Cavs. When LeBron was on the Cavs, he had a decent bench. He did good supporting cast. Didn't have crazy superstars outside of Kyrie. Kevin Love was, and then like what Charlie said earlier, kind of wasn't involved in the offense as much as he was in Minnesota. But you have to think that LeBron excels, and any team that LeBron is on excels with a good supporting cast. Like you look at Miami, he had Mario Chalmers, Norris Cole, Ray Allen, Mike Miller, Shane Battier, all those guys that would come off the bench and provide key minutes. You got to have a supporting cast. So when it's all said and done, I don't think that they should get a third max player, but I would not be surprised if they did.
Yeah. You want to go?
Quick note. You guys both said the Lonzo Ball experiment was a failure. I definitely don't think you can say that yet.
We meant for the Lakers.
Oh.
For the Lakers.
Not him as a player, but for the Lakers.
Okay, good. Because I was about to say they did the same thing with D'Angelo Russell, and we saw how that turned out.
Yeah.
And I don't like when people do that with NBA point guards because NBA point guards take a very long time to develop into the player they're going to be. So I just wanted to disclaim that.
Don't come at him in the comments.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to be saying,
yeah.
Lonzo Ball, so all that.
Okay, yeah. So my opinion on this I'm going to ask you guys this question first.
Okay.
Is this next year this would be the 2019-2020 NBA season?
Correct, yeah.
This is basically for the Lakers, win it all or nothing, correct?
Yeah, what kind of how long is AD's contract? He's only got one more year, correct?
But I'm saying if they sign a third guy, if they sign a third max, and they don't win a championship, that's a complete failure.
Yeah, I know AD only has 1 year left on his contract. I'm almost positive. Or maybe he has 2. Does he have 2?
Yes, he has
a player option?
He has this year and another year, and then he'll be an unrestricted free agent in 2021.
Is this a player option though?
The next year is a player option. 5 years is a player option.
But let's be honest. I mean, if they sign a max guy, they're not going to keep him for more than 1 year. So this would be kind of like Kawhi.
This is
Kawhi
in
Toronto.
Last contracted year before his player option.
Yeah,
and he's definitely he's definitely going to decline the player option. It seems like all the stars in the NBA decline their player option nowadays.
Yeah. So, and with the West wide open, without the Warriors, without KD and without Clay,
at least for a predominant amount of the season, and they'll come back, and who knows, those guys might not even sign with the Warriors. So, DeMarcus Cousins possibly leaving, KD possibly leaving, Clay possibly leaving.
So the West is really wide open,
and the Rockets having a ton of trouble
in the locker room.
James Harden's man boobs.
James Harden's man boobs. And then I think the big team next year will be the Nuggets, honestly, with that young core. If Michael Porter Jr. can develop, obviously they have Bol now, which we're not going to get into, but they got a lot of young guys that they took a risk on. If they develop, that's definitely going to be huge for them. So, yeah, I would definitely say the next year or 2 years is definitely going to be the only time the Lakers are going to have a chance to win the championship, just because AD possibly leaving. They're going to try to sign a max player who knows how long that's going to be there. And then, I mean, LeBron has been defining age forever, but that can only last for so long. Eventually, he's going to be 36, 37. And I mean, maybe he'll prove me wrong, but I mean, I think we all have to understand the fact that LeBron is getting very old. You don't see many 36, 37-year-old players leading a team like that. It's definitely going to be tough for him. So it could happen, but I think that definitely next 1 to 2 years, which is going to be LeBron's probably winding down the end of his prime, is definitely going to be huge for him.
Yeah, but we've definitely seen when LeBron would change a team. We saw that he lost in 2010 to the Mavs in the finals.
Yeah.
So he definitely takes, and then he lost his first finals appearance with the Cavs, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, they got swept by the Spurs.
So if you don't count this year, but if you count this next year with the players that they're going to get, and the trend continues, this might be the year that they might, stumble a little bit to gain chemistry. Then the next year they might. But I think for the Lakers, definitely, it's a championship or bust year next year. But I definitely think Kemba would be a great signing. I think D'Lo would be a really good signing too. LeBron has always needed good shooting around him most of the time. Ray Allen, Kyrie was a really good shooter, really good scorer. So, and I think if Clay wasn't hurt, that he would be a serious option for the Lakers. But I definitely think that they'll sign someone. It might not be a max guy, but they'll definitely sign someone.
And that's what I think. That's why I'm kind of really just thinking that they should just kind of try to stay away from the third max player. Because, I mean, Rondo, not the best point guard by any means. But, I mean, I've always seen him as a system player. One guy who excels when he is not the first option.
They don't have him on contract right now.
They don't?
No.
Oh, I thought they did.
The only people on contract now on the Lakers are Kuzma,
Mo
Wagner, Isaac Bonga, AD, and Kuzma. So those are their 5 right now.
Yeah, so they're needing players.
Yeah. Which I would say, would you rather sign a point guard with the likes of Kemba, D'Lo, or possibly even Kyrie Irving to a max deal, or sign 2 or 3 really key decent players and shooters on the bench, such as Kyle Korver or J.R. Smith or J.J. Redick?
The problem is J.J. Redick is going to cost a hefty amount. Especially in today's NBA, he's going to be looking towards.
I think he's done a lot for Philadelphia.
No, he's definitely going to be demanding a huge contract. And the problem, I do like Rondo as a point guard, but with LeBron and AD there, they definitely need some more shooting, and Rondo can't shoot. I'm not saying LeBron and AD are bad shooters. I'm saying the way they play, attacking the rim, and LeBron only shot 33% from 3 last year, which, I mean, he's a good shooter. I'm not going to say that, but LeBron plays better with shooters. Being able to spread the floor, getting some space in the paint, being able to, when the floor is spread, being able to pass it out because LeBron is a good passer. So he definitely plays better when the floor is being spread.
1,000% agree with that. I want to focus on LeBron James for a little bit here on the podcast. I'm not a big LeBron guy. I respect the heck out of LeBron.
You gotta respect.
I personally hate LeBron. But yeah, I think
you can be a LeBron hater, but still respect him, and I think that's kind of where I am.
Yeah,
I'm not a
100%.
hater.
No, I mean I respect his greatness. He's the greatest player of the last generation of our generation. So, but I definitely hate him because he beat up my Bulls all the time in the early 2010s. So
yeah, so I definitely think that we've talked about Charlie said that age is going to catch up to LeBron at some point, but we are in the generation of where athletes will play into their upper 40s. Example
upper 40, you mean
lower 40s.
40s.
So
yeah.
Tom Brady, LeBron's another example of this.
Vince
when
Carter,
you invest money in your body, you're gonna play.
Carter.
You're gonna play for a lot longer. But I think that we're gonna miss LeBron when he retires. I think when this greatness leaves the NBA, there's obviously still gonna be the next guy up. That's gonna be, the face of the NBA. But LeBron has kind of been our generational guy since the kid from Akron since 2003. Kind of been the face of the NBA. He's changed the NBA a lot as far as culture-wise, I think. So I think that as far as LeBron's legacy, we'll probably miss him, even though I'm not a big LeBron guy.
And I mean, saying that LeBron is like he's getting older, but saying he's on a decline is not like anyone who says that LeBron is declining. Not the best use of words. I'm not saying you guys were. I'm just saying that they're like I know there are people out there who are saying, "Oh, LeBron's declining. He's getting old." But the dude averaged points, rebounds, and assists last year. Averaged more than his entire career averages so far, and field goal percentage and field goal efficiency percentage was higher than his career averages. The only thing else, I mean, free throws. I mean, LeBron's not the best free throw shooter. We can agree to that, but yeah, I mean, LeBron, he's getting older, but like you hear this all the time. He's like a fine wine. He just keeps getting better with age. Well, not really better. He's just still just constantly one of the best players in the game, even though he's getting older and older.
Yeah, I think that another person that we saw this with was Kobe retiring. I think that was kind of a sad moment for basketball, even though towards the end of his career he was not very good.
After the Achilles injury.
The Achilles injury. But he did a lot for basketball as well. And, those kind of big three basketball names, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron. In no specific order right there. I'd just like to make that clear. But, I mean, seeing LeBron leave is going to be a big moment for basketball. And I think that we'll all, look back and say, man, LeBron was a really good player.
We were lucky that we're in we're lucky that we're in the same... Like, we're the generation that gets to watch LeBron as we grow up.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely be lucky that we got to watch the second greatest player of all time.
Agreed.
How fast were you to reach for your keyboards and type hate in the comments, huh? How fast were you right there?
Second greatest player of all time. Michael Jordan, shut up.
All right, so our next... Do you guys want to touch on the finals a little bit? Obviously...
It's been a while.
The Raptors won.
Oh, they did? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so basically the Raptors won... And that's about it.
What we could talk about is probably the fact that this is probably going to be what looks to be the end of the Warriors dynasty.
Possibly.
I think that the Warriors are going to re-sign KD. Maybe Clay, but I think KD's definitely going to come back. He has the Warriors have the highest chance of landing him.
If you were to choose one of the two, Clay or KD, who would you choose?
I think I'm choosing KD.
Really?
Or not KD, I meant Clay.
Yeah.
Less money. You guys, they won a championship with him before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
they won 2 championships.
They had way more depth when they had
Harrison Barnes and
with just
Leandro Barbosa.
When they had Clay, Steph, and just Draymond.
The OG Warriors squad.
Yeah,
the one who won the first championship.
Yeah, but I think he's more important to your core. Mm-hmm. I just think KD would be too much money. And wherever he goes, he's going to demand a lot of money, and you're not going to get him for very long either.
With Clay's case, drafted by Golden State, went through the early years before they came up on the incline to where they are now. He's been with them the entire career. He's been loyal. When KD signed, he opted out of his contract and took less money so they could sign KD. He's a team player. He's loyal to the organization. And if I'm Klay Thompson, as soon as July 1st hits, when free agency opens, and if not within the first few minutes of midnight when free agency starts opening and the Warriors don't call me, I'm going to be upset. Because if I'm Klay Thompson, I've put everything I had into this program. Organization, whatever. Program, organization, kind of, I'm sorry, whatever. You know what I mean. But, I mean, you just have to think he is so loyal to the Warriors. And if he isn't given what he wants, then I mean I wouldn't want to be on there if I'm not getting offered the max contract.
Couldn't agree more. Also, breaking news I just saw from Woj. Since I talked about this later, Kemba possibly going to the Lakers. He's definitely. It said right now. Let's see where the tweet is. Bleacher Report NBA tweeted Kemba is quote unquote going to head to Boston with Kyrie Irving on his way out, end quote, barring an, quote, unforeseen change of events, end quote.
So most likely going to Boston.
Yeah, so that means Kyrie's on his way out.
Yeah.
So that means Kyrie's on his way out, but we were talking about the Lakers having to sign him. They're at what? We said $23.7 million right now, and Kyrie's max is like 32.
Well, that amount could go up if the Lakers decide, because they're talking about waiting to finalize the trade with Anthony Davis until Anthony Davis is, I can't remember what the whole deal is, but if they wait long enough, then the Lakers will have, I think, almost like $10 million more cap space open if they wait a while to finalize the deal.
And if they also find someone to dump Wagner and Bonga, I mean that's like, I mean they're on $1 million contracts, like something like that, so that creates
That
cap
frees
space
up
for them.
space, yeah.
They've got like so they're trying to trade those guys. So stuff like that may be able to get them to do that, but obviously we already talked about it. I don't think it's a good idea. I think they should just sign some. Wait, I'm sorry.
What?
Frick. Great, dude. This podcast is going to get chopped by woes, bro. The Lakers are trading Mo Wagner, Isaac Bonga, and Jeremiah Jones to Wizards as part of the Anthony Davis deal with New Orleans, league sources tell Zach Lowe. And then also it just said Anthony Davis is waiting his $4 million trade kicker, league sources tell ESPN.
It's cap space. They're creating a lot of cap space. So it looks like they are going to try to get that third max player.
Whoa, you messed up this whole entire podcast.
Well, push notifications for Woj can be very good or very bad. So,
Fair enough.
Okay, so I think we're going to have to, man, I apologize. We were just talking about Carson Edwards, so we might have to hop back into that. So after this, I'm sure a lot of stats is going to be coming up. So we're getting this live as it comes in, so you guys are getting a fresh look at the reactions here.
This also may take me at least probably 4 days to edit, so I'll try to get this out as fast as I can.
Yeah, so, I mean, what that definitely looks like, AD's waiving the trade kicker for extra $4 million in cap space, instantly puts them able to sign D'Angelo Russell
for at least $27 million.
For at least $27 million, and then after that, with trading the other three guys that they had, probably puts them into consideration for Kyrie Irving.
But now you have to get so many role players.
See, that's a problem with why I don't think they should do that. They're going to literally spend all their cap space on one player. They're not going to have any role players. They're not going to have any depth.
They're going to call up a bunch of G Leaguers to be on their bench.
I mean, I think if you sign someone like Kyrie, I don't see him taking a back seat. I see Kyrie as a guy who's like
almost the main
People
guy.
were arguing that he
1B.
was the reason they won in 2016 and not LeBron.
I think so.
But, I mean, you saw in Boston, it really didn't work out because there's so many pieces around there. I mean, you saw everyone starting to suffer. I mean, they almost played worse with Kyrie on the team the next season because, I mean, they were playing really well with that young core with Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown.
Terry Rozier.
When he was injured. And then he came back the next year, and they just really couldn't figure it out. So you have to look at that and think, is that situation going to work with the three big stars? I mean, obviously Kyrie's done it before with
But like we said, one of those three is going to take a back seat.
yeah, and
They're going to have to. Yeah.
The big thing is, I mean, it might not even be Kyrie. There could be so many guys who are targeting. KD's there, Kyrie. I already said Kyrie, but KD, Clay, Kawhi, possibly even.
Yeah.
And I mean, who knows how that might work out? And I mean, if you put KD or Kawhi, I mean, they both probably want to go to LA. So I mean, who knows what could happen? Everyone wants to play in LA. Everyone would like to play with LeBron. It's going to be a championship contender. So it's definitely going to be interesting to watch this free agency to see who they sign because they could definitely create something like very powerful with another big signing. But how that will work out, I'm not too sure. Just because someone's going to have to take a back seat because it's literally going to be three of the best players in the NBA because they already have AD and LeBron. And then they're not going to have any space to sign any depth. I mean, maybe they'll get some. What was it that DeMarcus Cousins signed? What's that? Something min.
Veteran minimum.
Yeah, veteran minimum, something like that. And they could get some of guys like that. But I'm just not sure how many guys they could sign that are going to be like actually good enough to step in and play good minutes, especially in the playoffs. So who knows how that will play out?
I mean, you can't play all those guys 48 minutes either, consistently for all 82 games. So that's why, like what Charlie and I were saying, you can't if you're the Lakers, you can't invest all your money into a third player. You got to sign the role players.
Yeah. So breaking news happened in the middle of the podcast. You love to see it. Sometimes you just love to see it.
So yeah, the Lakers are sending their 2022 second round pick to Washington, and Mo Wagner, Jeremiah Jones, and Isaac Bonga, and maybe the Wizards send back money. I mean, that might be the only thing Wizards send back from our cap space.
Cash consider, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely breaking news during the podcast, but I feel like
Keeping us on our toes.
yeah. So who knows? That's definitely going to be
That's
fun to watch play out.
first live break in podcast history.
You're not going to get this anywhere else, ladies and gentlemen. Speed Kills Podcast. That's why you have Woj.
The
on push
best
notifications.
place to listen.
Also, Shams tweeted it like 2 minutes later. So Shams taking more L's to Woj. I'm about to tweet L at Shams right now. Pretty good role players. Yeah.
All right, so back to the Warriors. Them possibly being the dynasty that fell. I mean,
At the hands of the Claw.
Yeah, 2 homegrown players, actually 3, right?
3.
With Draymond.
Yeah, Draymond and Steph and Clay, yeah.
And 3 or 4 NBA championships. I'm not. Were they 4 and 6?
No,
4 and 6?
No, they only won 3. They
So
went
3 and
1,
5.
They went 1, lost 2-peat, and then lost the 3-peat.
So they went 3 and 5 and
Five
straight.
They've won
5 in a row.
They've won
Been to
6
5.
total, but they won 3 with that core group.
Yeah. So definitely think that it was definitely a success. I mean, good run for the Warriors. No one else is going to say this. 'Cause I'm just a little bit a Sleepers Warriors fan, I'd say. But, I mean, it was a historic run, and I think a lot of people want that to end. So I think a lot of America is happy that the Warriors are kind of on
most
the downhill.
definitely. I think, especially when we saw the Cleveland and Warriors 4 times in a row. I mean, that probably had to
Got
be
boring.
Yeah, that was. I mean, for me, I don't think I watched any of that finals. I was like, this is boring. I think we all knew who was going to win it.
But, I mean, the 3-1 comeback was definitely something.
Oh,
that
I
might be
mean,
one of the greatest finals
It was
ever.
it was fun to watch them the first 3 times because I mean, first time
They're still
Warriors
competitive,
win, second
yeah.
time Cleveland comes back, ridiculous comeback. Oh, third time, who's finally going to win? Fourth time, I was like, all right, this is ridiculous. We need some more competitiveness in the NBA. So it was definitely nice that LeBron went to LA and didn't make the playoffs. Made me feel really good about myself. But yeah, I definitely think this is possibly going to be a huge turning point for the Warriors and their dynasty. Just because we're going to see the Nuggets and other young teams on the come up, and they could possibly be losing a ton of pieces this year. Obviously, still going to be very competitive, even if they lose everybody. They still have Steph Curry, probably the best point guard in the NBA.
He is the best point guard.
And I think they'll sign at least one of their guys back, whether it's Clay or KD. Hopefully, they'll sign one back, and they'll still have Draymond. So I think Draymond really fits that system well. So I think no matter what, they'll still be competitive, but it'll definitely be.
They won't be near the magnitude if they have been.
Exactly.
Yeah. And my issue with the Warriors, like, if you have to choose one or two, like I know if I had to, if I were Bob Myers, the Warriors GM, and I had to choose between KD and Clay, I'd choose Clay. But I could also do whatever I can to make sure I get both, because we both know, both of them most likely not going to play next year unless
They're kind of like a redshirt year.
Yeah.
I talked to Emery before at lunch, probably the past couple of days,
Yeah.
about
Backloading a deal,
backloading
yeah.
their deal. So, they may be
backloaded
able
by
to-
like 5%, get some extra money towards the end of his contract, so they both can kind of, I guess, quote unquote, sit out this year, and while still being on the team, not getting paid as much as a normal deal would be for them, like a flat rate deal or a front rate deal. But they will still be getting the money they want, and as soon as they get back to normal, I won't say normal, because I mean you can't really come back from an ACL injury or a Achilles tear and be normal, but I mean once they're back to almost basically full health, then they will be the team that they used to be. But also them signing 2 players is unlikely, especially with how much money teams are going to be offering the 2.
Yeah, the NBA offseason this year is probably one of the most compelling.
Get ready. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, so our next up on the podcast, the 2019 NBA Draft happened, and these two, I'm going to let Charlie and Emery kind of take over this segment, but as we know, Zion went 1, and they want to talk about, out of the top 5, the most underrated.
Outside of the top 5.
Outside of
pick
the
6 through 60. Who has the most potential? Do you want to start, Charlie, or do you want me?
You can go ahead.
Okay. Well, up until Charlie brought that thing up about Kemba Walker, I was going to say that Carson Edwards for me has the most potential, or is a dark horse in the draft. Because, I mean, granted, during the regular season while on Purdue and throughout his entire career, he hasn't been the most efficient player. But, I mean, you have to appreciate...
He's a point scorer.
Yeah, you have to appreciate what he did for Purdue in the tournament. I mean, in the Elite Eight against Virginia, I can't remember how many points he had.
Was it 40?
It was in the 40s. I think it was 47. Maybe even 47. But I remember watching that game,
It
and
was at least 12.
everything he put up was going in. It doesn't matter who was guarding him. I mean, he put that Purdue team on his back, and no one else from Purdue got drafted this year. He was the only one from that team who got drafted, and the only one from that team who probably will get drafted. I am an IU fan, so I'm kind of bringing bias in there, but I have to appreciate what Carson Edwards is doing. But because of the news from Kemba Walker, I don't know if I can say that, because if Kemba Walker goes there, then Carson Edwards might just be overshadowed by Kemba. And then, like I said, my IU bias may be coming out, but I think Romeo Langford also on the Celtics.
Carson Edwards got drafted by Philly.
Yeah, then he got traded to Boston.
Kemba? Oh.
No, Carson Edwards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's kind of like a little Indiana sort of
with
affair there. And
with the Romeo and Carson.
Brad
both
Stevens and Gordon Hayward up there, too.
Also being Celtics.
So, yeah, and I would say Romeo Langford is probably one of the dark horses for me because, like Jacob said, I watched him a ton in high school. Went to New Albany High School. I would always go to, because one of the schools that I went to prior to my high school would always play them in the regional tournaments in the state basketball tournaments.
Oh my gosh. I'll let. Did you finish with Carson Edwards?
Like I said, I was originally gonna choose Carson Edwards, but it sounds like Kemba's gonna go there. Which Carson can still be a sleeper for Boston.
Definitely.
He can kind of be like how Terry Rozier was, because as soon as Kyrie went down, Terry Rozier stood up, like in 2017, 2018. Terry Rozier came up big time in the playoffs and got the nickname Scary Terry.
Ooh.
I know. And then now, Carson Edwards could, in case it doesn't really pan out how the Celtics want it to, but I definitely think that Romeo Langford could definitely step up for the Celtics in a big spot. And I know in college he didn't play. He definitely did not live up to the expectations that IU fans held up to him, especially me. After watching him in high school, he was the number 5 prospect in his class. You would think that he would be more productive and lead the team more than he did, which, trying not to bash him, but he just didn't live up to my standards.
Yeah, Emery kind of going home pick with both Indiana guys.
Yeah.
And I don't fault you for that at all.
It's just because watching those guys, Purdue and IU didn't really get in the nationally televised games like Duke and Virginia and all the big shots got during this season. The only nationally televised game that, I think there was only 2 or 3 nationally televised games that IU got. But yeah, I think Romeo Langford, because the shooting guard position in Boston is kind of up in the air with Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, and I think Romeo Langford could probably slide up into that role if they need him to be. But like I said, I'm no analyst. I don't know what's going on. This is just my feeling after seeing these two play in person. This is what I think that they could be.
And a thing I also want to add on, Terry Rozier even said it, that if Kyrie comes back, he's probably going to want to leave because he's a free agent. And if Kyrie leaves and then they get Kemba, he's probably still going to want to leave. He probably doesn't want to have the backseat role. Mm-hmm. We saw him play really well in the playoffs that one year. So I think Terry Rozier could sign somewhere else and definitely could be a really good player. And then I think that'll leave some space for Carson Edwards to definitely come in as a backup point guard for the Celtics and probably have a really good year. But I just wanted to talk about the one person I was going to talk about was Cam Reddish. I feel like Cam Reddish kind of had to take a back seat at Duke. And I probably watched a lot of their games just because
compelling. It was compelling.
It was
basketball.
Always on national television.
Yeah, exactly. And I was intrigued with Zion, RJ, pretty much the top 3 recruits with Cam. But you always see someone's got to take a back seat. The year before, it was Wendell Carter. And he had a pretty decent rookie season for the Bulls because he took the back seat to Marvin Bagley.
Yep.
So I think he really fits like what people are looking for in the NBA. He's 6'8". He can shoot the ball really well, and that was the big problem. He was not consistent at all. You saw it in some games. He would have just a really good game, shoot really well, and then the next game he would go for 0 for 10 from 3. He had the big shot, so obviously he hit some clutch shots, but if he can be consistent, because he only shot field goal percentage 35% the whole entire year at Duke, which is not good
atrocious.
at all.
Yeah.
And you think, how does that get someone to be the 10th pick in the NBA draft? But the potential that he has, especially in today's NBA, to be able to shoot the 3 and guard multiple positions with his height, with his wingspan, and possibly be a good defender, because he is very athletic. He can definitely put the ball on the floor and drive to the basket. He'll spread the floor for anybody who he's playing with. And I think it'll work out really well with the Hawks because they had a really good draft. They got Jarrett Culver at number 4. And then they got Cam Reddish. I mean, that's 2 really good wings. They already had Kevin Huerter as a wing and some other pretty good young guys who they already had on the team. They got John Collins and Trae Young. So I think if Cam Reddish can maximize on his potential, it'll be a really good system for him in Atlanta because Atlanta's definitely bought into the rebuild. They're definitely fine with taking their time with their young players in order to maximize their potential. So I think Cam Reddish will have the time to develop. And if he can just be consistent, 3-and-D guy, he'll definitely be a really good player for the Hawks, and he'll definitely find his place in the NBA. And he could definitely be a sleeper pick at number 10.
They're going to be a very good team in 3 years. It's going to take them a few years to develop, but 3 years down the road, Trae Young's going to be right in his prime. He's starting to, after his rookie, he's starting to get there.
Which is crazy for an NBA point guard. You don't see that very often.
No.
Like, first year come in.
Like John Collins is young, like Charlie was saying, and Jarrett Culver and RG Barrett, both top 10 picks. You get, if you're an Atlanta fan or a Hawks fan or even just a basketball fan, you got to be excited about this young core in Atlanta.
Yeah, there's a lot of young cores across the NBA with the Pelicans,
really dope Pelicans,
and just other teams in general. So there's definitely young, up-and-coming teams that we will see probably 3 to 4 years. We've seen kind of the Bucks do it with Giannis at the core just lately, and I think that the Bucks are going to be a big contender, and I think they'll make the finals next year.
Did you want to talk about any other sleepers?
I'm good.
All right. He's got Tyler Hero pulled up. I think we could talk about Tyler Hero. Drafted to the Heat. Obviously, they just lost D. Wade. Not saying he's going to be a replacement for D. Wade. This is another guy who was slept on with his athleticism. He's deceptively athletic. He's a 6'5" shooting guard. And by saying shooting guard, he could definitely shoot. You saw it. He shot 93% from the free throw line. You put him on the free throw line. I'm taking him over almost anybody in the NBA. Besides Steph Curry and ridiculous shooters, but definitely anybody in the draft. He's an amazing free throw shooter, which a lot of people look at your free throw shooting as how good of a shooter you actually are. So really good free throw shooter. Shot 35% from 3, which isn't anything mind blowing, but he shot 46% from the field. So a good mid range shooter as well. Can definitely finish around the basket, and he's deceptively athletic. A lot of people were talking about he's actually a pretty good defender. People never talk about that. He's got good wingspan. He can definitely guard probably, maybe the 1, 2, and 3. He's not ridiculously tall, but he'll definitely be able to help a team like the Miami Heat, who they're not really in a rebuild, not really in something like that. He's definitely going to be able to come in right away and be a good shooter for them and definitely score right away. And if he can develop, because obviously we see rookies aren't very good defenders at all, right? Coming into the NBA, because it takes a lot to develop strength and understand that these are all NBA players are very good. It takes some adjustment period. So if he can come in and shoot the ball well like he did in college and play good defense, he'll definitely be a guy who could be like a better defending JJ Redick almost.
I like that comparison. Yeah.
So it could be something like that, just a good 3-and-D, almost like a PJ Tucker, smaller PJ Tucker. Trevor Ariza.
With less shoe game.
Yeah, exactly. yeah. But yeah, no, Tyler Hero was definitely a really good player in high school, definitely played well in college, and that's why you saw him be a lottery pick, because the NBA is so centered around the three-point line nowadays. So he definitely will, definitely could have a lot of potential for the future.
Yeah, for sure. Do you guys have anyone else that you want to highlight?
One guy I won't talk about because I don't know much about, but people are high on, Sekou Doumbouya. Another guy who fell really, really far in the draft, Nasir Little from North Carolina, was before the season probably projected to be a top 5 pick. Fell super far down in the NBA or in the draft. Went to the Trailblazers, so he's not going to be expected to do a ridiculous amount just because they already have a pretty good amount of guys there. And he's definitely a really good defender, definitely a good athlete. Can't really shoot too much. If he can develop a shot, he could be another 3-and-D guy. But I think he'll be a good defender. Kind of like, I would say, a better version of Stanley Johnson is what I see him like. Stanley Johnson also
Kid from Arizona.
Yeah, he didn't go, or he actually went pretty high in the draft, but a better version of Stanley Johnson, really good defender, can't shoot too well, but he can definitely finish around the rim. So if he could develop, he could definitely be like a better version of what I said, Stanley Johnson, actually get some good minutes and help out the Trailblazers as they could be a team also that we could see
Trailblazers
take over the Western Conference pretty soon here. So he could definitely be a good piece to come off the bench and play some good minutes on defense and finish around the rim for them.
Yeah, and I have one more person to add for my sleepers. Didn't really think of him just because he went to a small school, but Dylan Windler from Belmont got drafted. I believe it was 26th overall. I'm pretty sure.
Yes,
check
that's
that.
correct.
26th
to
overall?
Cleveland.
To Cleveland, yeah. Kid shot, okay. Went to Belmont. Obviously not a Power 5 conference, but Belmont is a team that's consistently kind of rotating in and out of the top 25.
Was there for 4 years.
Yeah, he
You
was a
don't
4-year
see
starter.
that.
From Indianapolis, went to high school on the south side of Indianapolis, Perry Meridian High School, right next to where I grew up. His senior year at Belmont averaged 21.3 points, 10.8 rebounds, 2.5 assists, shooting 54% from the field, 43% from three, and 85% from the free throw line. If you're putting up those numbers at a Power 5 school, you're getting drafted top 3, no question. And granted, his the competition at his level wasn't necessarily the best. I'll give him that.
I mean, Belmont is in a pretty decent.
They made the
basketball
tournament.
Conference. They make conference every year. So I mean, it's not like it's definitely Division I, and they're definitely playing some decent competition. But yeah, that's probably why he was so far down in the draft.
But
The competition.
he just has such raw talent, and he's improved a lot. Because his career averages, he's only averaged 13 points over his career. But his past year, his senior year, he just absolutely exploded. And I was honestly shocked that he wasn't picked in the lottery just because of the numbers he put up. And his size. He's 6'8", 200, athletic. I really think that Dylan Willer can do something special for Cleveland, especially since they're a young team, not really the best. He may be able to take control of that team in years to come.
He's going to get playing time for sure, and I don't know much about this guy, definitely not as much as Emery does, but just to speak from a statistical standpoint, he's been almost an above 50% shooter from the field, and almost a career 40% three-point shooter in college.
He's shooting 54% from the field for his career, yeah.
And 40% from three.
From three, yeah.
So as far as numbers go for shooting, that's really great.
That's very good.
And being 6'6", can play the guard and the forward is going to help a lot. And with Cleveland not being as strong as they once were with LeBron James,
Kyrie,
he's probably definitely going to get some playing time and get the chance to succeed. And as far as numbers, he has them.
He definitely has them. It'll be exciting to see.
So are we safe to say we're good with that?
We are good.
If we want to talk about some losers from the NBA draft, one big loser I saw was the Suns. The Suns probably had the worst draft.
Oh, I
had the worst off season so far out of it.
Yeah.
So I was
F
in the
chat
room
for DeAndre Ayton and for Devin Booker. Their potential will be absolutely thwarted in Phoenix.
I was in the room as Charlie and Emery watched the NBA draft together, and they were just freaking out about how bad the Suns draft was.
I mean, they were at number 6.
Can you argue with this, or can you be mad?
No, I was just the pure point of just seeing you two freak out was pretty funny for me.
Think about it. They were at number 6. They had already fell in the draft, so they already lost the lottery. Yeah. Fell in the draft, went to number 6, traded it to the Timberwolves for who? The 11th pick and Dario Saric.
What?
Can't forget they traded T.J. Warren and their 32nd pick to the Pacers, and the Pacers gave up cash.
Yeah,
cash
for T.J. Warren, a great 3-and-D player, a guy who's always going to be consistent.
A solid
on that
player.
team.
A very solid player.
Very solid player in the NBA for cash considerations, and they gave up a pick for it. So that starts it off. They trade back to number 11 for Dario Saric, who's an average. He's got some pretty good upside. He's got some pretty good upside, and he may turn out to be a pretty good power forward in the NBA one day, but nothing special, nothing good enough for the 6th pick for to drop down 5 spots. And then they go back to number 11, and what do? They reach for Cam Johnson.
Wow,
Idiot.
that's crazy.
They could have traded back way further, could have drafted Cam Johnson at a lower spot than that, I'm going to look up, let's see if Cam Johnson's stats are on here.
Also, James Jones has only been the Suns. The James Jones, the one who has been to the same amount of final streaks as LeBron did. By the way,
LeBron James.
Yeah, no one's talking about him in the GOAT conversation. Very upset about that. My sarcasm is on point right now. I mean, he was announced in April as a GM. It's been a very bad 2.5 months as a GM for him.
Yeah, let's talk Cam Johnson as a senior who is right now older than Devin Booker. Who has been in the? This is going to be like his 4th year in the NBA. Cam Johnson is already older than Devin Booker. As a senior, averaged 16.9, 5.8 rebounds, and shot 45% from the arc. If he was a freshman, I would be like, wow, this guy's an absolute steal at 11. But this guy is already 22 or like 23. He is very old. There's no reason to be taking a senior at number 11 when he's putting up numbers that are just
that Romeo Langford put up. That's a freshman.
That we see freshmen put up. I mean, that was a terrible pick to drop back to number 11. So I think the Suns, big losers from the draft. It's going to be a long, long time before Phoenix is even in the playoffs. Even if we see DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker.
Booker's probably going to leave in free agency when he gets the chance.
I hope so.
I'm sure he
would.
would.
Didn't he already resign though?
I'm not 100% sure. But I'd just like to talk about Cam Johnson for a minute. I don't know much about him. But, man, that hat on his hair, that's just not good for anyone.
Yeah.
The Suns
that's why I thought Devin Booker already re-signed with the Suns. And I think it was just because it was a Supermax. And he's getting his money. So, definitely going to stink for Phoenix for the next couple of years because your front office sucks.
Blows big time. And he's on contract till 2024.
Everyone F in the chat?
Yeah.
F.
Yeah.
For DeAndre Ayton and
Devin
Booker's career. DeAndre Ayton, get out of there as soon as you can, man.
All right, so are we safe to we're ready to move on from the draft?
Yeah, we can move on.
All right, so this will be interesting for us, I think. Definitely. So we made our own little buy a team for $15. So you have $15. There's a category of $5 players, $4 players, $3 players, $2 players, and $1 player.
But we add a little twist. These are all players under 25.
Not 25 and under 25.
Yeah, hopefully. We got that right.
I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah. We double-checked just about everyone's age, so we should be under 25. So guys like who is it? Who was 25 I was talking about earlier?
Joel.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Joel just turned 25, won't be in there. Yeah. So
I think we're good, yeah.
Yeah, this was an in-house made list. These two
we couldn't find they were good lists, but I mean they would have they had
this
like
and this was the whole NBA.
Not a $5.
Yeah.
And they had dudes that it was from last year where Victor Oladipo was a $4 because maybe last year he was, but now he has an injury. So we couldn't find one from 2019. So we thought we would just make our own. So hopefully this will turn out well for us.
And plus, it's really hard to try to fit all the good small forwards in the game, like LeBron, KD, and Kawhi.
LeBron James.
And Giannis. You can't really put Kawhi or Giannis at a $2 because that's just unfair.
You're gonna have to add people at the 4, and then there's gonna have to be enough. Yeah.
Yeah,
So.
I was suggesting that we have more than one position at each $5.
Yeah.
But we decided on going ahead and doing this 25 and
25 and under 25. Under 25. Also, the only people from the 2019 draft we added were the top 3 with Zion, RJ, and Ja, because a lot of people were talking about how the top 3 was very heavy loaded, and then after that, not as good. So we obviously thought it'd be fun to put those guys in there.
Yeah, we definitely try to make this interesting. Yeah. So we're each gonna pick our own team, but you're not allowed to pick the same person. Yeah. So if one picks them, then the next is not allowed. And by the way, Emery and Charlie kind of headed this up with the graph, so to speak, or the chart.
Do you want me to explain what the graph looks like?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we have for our $5 positions, we have Ben Simmons at the point guard. You can argue whether or not he's a point guard, but he's a point guard to us.
He can't shoot, though.
I mean, neither can Rondo, but shooting guard, Devin Booker. Small forward, Giannis. Yes, he is under 25. He's 24 years old. Power forward, Kristaps. And center was Jokic. $4 players, point guard was D'Lo. Shooting guard, Donovan Mitchell. Small forward, Luka. Power forward, Pascal Siakam. And our center was Karl Anthony Towns. $3 players, De'Aaron Fox at the 1, Zach LaVine at the 2, Zion at the 3. You could put him at the 4, but we put him at the 3. At the 4, Julius Randle. And rounding up the $3 at the center was Clint Capella. And then for the 2s, $2 category, at the 1 was Trae Young. At the 2, Gary Harris. At the 3, Jason Tatum. At the 4, Kyle Kuzma. And at the 5, Miles Turner. And then rounding them up at the $1 category, at the 1, Ja Morant. At the 2, RJ Barrett. We felt like it was fitting to put those two at the 1s just because they're freshly drafted. But I mean, Zion's just a hoss, so we put him at 3. And small
Absolute
forward,
unit.
small
Zion
forward
Williamson.
for the $1, Andrew Wiggins. Power forward, John Collins. And last but not least, DeAndre Ayton at the center. And I already picked my team, so if it's all right, if I go ahead and just list my team off.
I was going to ask, do you want to do this like draft style with
we
one of
draft
us
off
going
top.
for-
Okay. I'm down with that, yeah.
So you basically have a board of what you're. Charlie and I are kind of just.
I have
winging
what
it.
I want, yeah.
Yeah, and then do you want to go by dollar amount, or do you just want the whole board's open?
The
I think
board.
the
whole
whole
board's
board's
open. That'll make it a lot of fun.
All right. I think Emery, since we know he wants who he wants, he should go
I will
last.
start.
So
Okay.
Charlie gets first. I'll get second. Then
Wait. So once one player's taken, you can't take
You
him?
can't take,
You
yes.
can't take him.
Yeah, it's pretty tough.
So we going point guard and then shooting guard and then...
The whole
It doesn't
board. The
matter.
whole board is
board's
open.
Anyone you want. So Charlie, the first pick, I have a pretty good feeling on who you're gonna pick.
Well, okay, I know who I wanted. So
Well, this is not me. You can choose anyone.
no, I know.
Okay.
So starting it off, I'm gonna take Zion Williamson, baby.
Oh.
That is all right.
Okay, so
Well, there we
Charlie,
go.
pick
So
number
Zion
one,
is off the
Zion
board.
Williamson out of the $3 category.
$3 category.
Now, give me Giannis, dude. Come on, fresh out of the MVP.
All right.
I definitely think that's probably who Emery wanted.
Yeah, that was
the
gonna be my
first.
first pick, but you can go ahead. And
Definitely, I think
take
definitely the
that.
most valuable person on here. Even though there's some good threes, with Luka, Zion, Tatum. I was gonna pick Tatum if I wasn't gonna get the
Really?
3 if I wasn't gonna get Giannis.
Gotcha. All right, and for me, oh boy. So Charlie took a $3 player, Jacob took a $5 player. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and take let's go D'Angelo Russell. I want D'Angelo Russell on my team.
Should we snake this?
Yes.
All right,
So
so
I'll
you
get,
get
back-to-back pick. All right. So I got D'Angelo Russell, and then I will take, let's see here.
Tough decisions.
Before he gets taken off the board, I will take Jason Tatum.
Okay, so Emery's team is D'Lo and
Jason Tatum.
I'm gonna go ahead and pick my $4 player and go ahead and pick Donovan Mitchell. I think I'll
That's a
take
pretty
Donovan
good
Mitchell
pick, yeah.
to play my shooting guard and be my $4 player. The only person that I was thinking about drafting for the shooting guard was RJ Barrett, to be honest.
Yeah.
But since I thought you might pick Donovan, so I'm gonna.
I was thinking about it,
go
but
ahead
I
and
already
pick
have a
Donovan.
$4 player. I don't know. All right, Charlie, your pick. You get two in a row.
Okay. Since there's no players with a ridiculous amount of defense at the point guard position, I'm gonna take the best offensive player there. I'm picking Trae Young from the $2 category.
Good pick.
Solid.
Saving yourself a lot of money. You still have $10 remaining after 2 positions.
Yeah, let's see.
All right, and now you get another pick. You need a shooting guard, power forward, and center. Which, for power forward and center, all 5 slots are open for both.
Okay. Yep. Hopefully this works out with me. This was a little bit of a sleeper, and since I'm a Chicago Bulls guy, I'm gonna have to pick Zach LaVine for the $3 category. Averaged 23.7 points. Not much of a defender, but this guy can shoot the ball and he can definitely finish around the rim. So with my dynamic front court of Trae Young and Zach LaVine, I'm putting up guaranteed 50 points in my backcourt tonight.
All right, and now Jacob.
With no defense coming from that either. So we're hoping to put up at least 120 points a game.
So Jacob, you have.
I have Giannis and Donovan.
Yes.
Donovan Mitchell. So I'm
So
looking.
you're at $9.
For,
So you're at $6 left with 3
yeah, I'm looking
positions.
for a point guard and power forward and center.
Your only 3 point guards left are Ben Simmons, De'Aaron Fox, and John Morant.
I'm gonna go ahead and go with. I'm going to go with Morant.
Really?
Out of the $1
All right.
category. I don't know much about... I was thinking about DeAndre Fox, but I didn't want to go... De'Aaron Fox. I'm
Come
not
on.
an NBA guy.
You're going to get guys commenting angry. Come on.
But I wasn't going to go with the 5-4-3.
Yeah, okay.
So I was trying to stay away from that. So I'll go ahead and pick
Gotcha.
Shimon Rand out of the $1
Okay.
category.
All right, and let's see. For my shooting guard, Devin Booker.
I like that pick,
I'll
actually.
take Booker at my shooting guard. So
For $5.
for $5. D'Lo, Devin Booker, and Jason Tatum are my 1, 2, and 3.
Not playing any defense here.
You know,
Purely
offense scores points, but defense wins championship. Yeah, whatever. All right, and now for my next pick,
Long pause.
I'm going to take. Let's see. I am at $11, so I have $4 left. I'm going to take. Or should we just do our last 2 picks together, since we have like a certain dollar amount that we need?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right, then I'm just going to double up on the 2s for the power forward and center. So I'll take Kyle Kuzma and Miles Turner out of my 4 and 5.
So you're at your $15 cap
Yes, I am at my $15 right now. D'Lo is 4, Tatum 2, Booker 5, Kuzma and Turner 2. That is a 15.
Playing negative defense besides Miles Turner.
I'm about to say.
We
Yeah,
are
I was
hoping-
surprised with Emery going with the double 2s. I didn't know we were allowed to do that, but I like the strategy. All right, so I'm up next with my last 2. I'll let Charlie go first.
Okay. So as of right now, I've got Trae Young at the 1, Levine at the 2, and Zion at the 3. Zion, probably going to be a pretty good defensive player when he gets into the NBA. Obviously athletic enough to guard multiple positions. Got a good wingspan. And
Defends the rim.
yeah, he can definitely, obviously got the vertical. He'll definitely get a lot of blocks. We saw him get a lot of steals. So I got some defense. And in order to...
You have $7 left.
Yep, in order to make up for the amount of lack of defense I have at the 1 and the 2 with Trae Young and Zion, and already the amount of ridiculous scoring I have with Levine, Trae Young, and Zion. Well, hopefully Zion, we'll see. But I'm going to go with Siakam at my 4,
Okay.
a guy who can play really good defense, most improved player this year. He can stretch the floor, and he can definitely finish around the rim. And then in order to finish it up, I'm going to go with a guy who definitely doesn't get the respect he deserves. I'm going Clint Capella at the 5.
Very true.
So I think my lineup with the scoring front court of Trae Young and Zach LaVine, Zion Williamson, who in the future will probably be able to do it at both ends, and hopefully will be able to stretch the floor one day, but even if he can't, going to be athletic enough to score around the rim, play good defense. And then I've got Siakam, who can stretch the floor and play really good defense, and Capella, who can defend the rim and rebound for me.
All right, so what?
That was
Review my team for me, Emery, real fast.
You have Giannis, Mitchell, Donovan Mitchell, and John Morant so far. Do you want me to read you off?
So I have $11,
remaining.
so I have $4.
So you have $4 left.
Who is available? So I need
So
a power
the-
forward and a center.
Power forward and center. So the only only ones you can get out of power forward and center, $3, Julius Randle, Clint Capella, and centers, John Collins and DeAndre Ayton. Or I'm sorry, Julius Randle and John Collins, power forward 3-1, and then Capella and Ayton 3-1 center.
Well, I don't know about
So you're gonna have to take one from one category and one from the other.
much about either of these players. So I'm going to take Julius Randle for the power forward. And I'm going to take Ayton for my
Due
center.
for a lot of money. All right.
I don't know much about Capella or anything else, but I think my front 3 will help those out a lot.
And then you chose DeAndre Ayton.
Yes.
Wow.
All right.
You know who we left on the board? Luka Doncic. Don't be mad at us, please. Don't comment.
I mean, he was $4.
This was
and
all strategy.
Yeah.
He's definitely. I definitely would like to have him on my team, but I had mine pretty planned out,
Yeah.
and with $4, I didn't think it'd work out.
And if we weren't drafting, this would look a whole lot different.
Yeah, and Emery, pure strategy play with the $2 players back to back.
You gotta think.
Because
So-
I was definitely going to pick one of
Yeah.
those.
So, left on the board, we had Ben Simmons as a $5 point guard,
Not worth it.
De'Aaron Fox as a $3 point guard,
Very surprised he did not go.
Gary Harris as the
I should
$2
pick him.
shooting guard, RJ Barrett $1 shooting guard, Wiggins as a $1 small forward, Luka $4. Kristaps Porzingis doesn't surprise me coming off the injury as a $5. Jokic wasn't picked as a $5. Cat wasn't picked as a $4. Capella was picked. I picked him. Julius Randle, yep. And then
I picked Julius
the
Randle.
last 2 were Ayton and John Collins left on the. Oh no.
Ayton was picked.
Jacob picked Ayton, so just John Collins last is a $1.04 left on the board.
All right, Emery, review us of everyone's team.
Okay. So I'll start with my team. My team: D'Angelo Russell at the 1, number 2 at the 2, Devin Booker.
Good defense.
At the 3, Jason Tatum.
Clamps.
At the 4, Kyle Kuzma.
Oh.
And at the 5, Miles Turner.
Suffocating defense.
Charlie, since you're loudmouth, I'll read off your team right now. Trae Young at the 1. Zach LaVine at the 2.
Shooter.
Zion at the 3.
Ooh.
Siakam at the 4.
Clamps.
And Capella at the 5. Lots of height. Lots of width and length on Charlie's team. And then Jacob, Ja Morant at the 1. He had Donovan Mitchell at the 2, Giannis at the 3, Julius Randle at the 4, and DeAndre Ayton at the 5.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, comment down in the comment section whose team you think is winning.
I was gonna say that. Who has the best team? I like Emery's team, personally. So
Well-rounded.
Brick?
I'm well-rounded.
I'm not.
Well-rounded where? On the offensive end? Doesn't play defense.
I don't have a single. Okay, whatever you
All right.
want, buddy.
So I mean,
Who plays defense on your team besides Miles Turner?
Kyle Kuzma.
Kyle Kuzma does not play defense.
Yes, he does.
Kyle Kuzma is a below-average defender at best.
so you see Charlie's minded, a little defensive-minded guy.
Well,
I didn't
my
really
point
think
guard and
about it.
shooting guard are scoring 60 a game. You can come at me.
I have Zach LaVine and Trae Young too.
So you're taking them two over D'Angelo Russell and Devin Booker.
Okay, Devin Booker is on the Suns. Of course he's going to put up a ridiculous amount of points every night. And yeah, D'Angelo Russell can put up a lot of points, but then after that, bro, I'm reaping you with Zion. Pascal's stretching the floor, and he's gonna post you up and body you down, and Capella's gonna get everything out of there and say no.
Except
not today.
Except Turner led the league in blocks, so he's going to block Capella too.
Capella's not gonna shoot. Capella's not shooting on my team. He's maybe catching a lob every quarter. That's it.
My God. Charlie is heated, brothers. All right. I think that's safe to say this is where we're going to end this installment of
Thank
the
goodness,
Squadcast.
man.
Hey, this is right now, as I'm speaking, it is 1 hour and 2 minutes and 7 seconds.
Since no one's actually gonna listen to this all the way through, I have stinky armpits. No one's actually gonna.
People are probably going to skip to the end.
I was going to ask for closing comments. I mean,
No, put that at the front. Put it in the very front of the video.
listen for this moment.
Since no one's gonna actually listen to this all the way through, Raymond, I think your feet are gross. So,
Wow. Coming at the Filipino like that, man. Look at you.
All right. So, closing comments. Chicago Bears.
this Squadcast sucks. No one's listening to this. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, NBA season's going to be a lot of fun, especially the off season. We'll see what happens.
Yep, Chicago Bears, 2020 NFL champs, baby. Woo! Go Bears!
Bears.
And people who comment at us in this comment section talking about how we're I'm not even gonna be able to say the word, how we're stupid. I'm 19.
We'll get demonetized.
I'm making a freaking Squadcast, and I don't know anything, and I'm just having fun. And you need to stop yelling at me because I do what I want.
We made it. We got haters.
Those are my closing comments.
That is it for this installment of the Speed Kill Squadcast. It is only our 3rd episode out here. Make sure to stay tuned for more Squadcast episodes and videos.